The weapons in an FPS game are only fun to shoot when you're killing even cooler bad guys, and Doom Eternal has both. Of course, most of the monsters from Doom 2016 return with extra utility, and old school demons from Doom 2 have cropped up as well, like the Arachnotron and Pain Elemental. But what about the new demons that Doom Eternal has to offer? Those enemies fascinate me the most because they were directly born from the new id Software team, and don't have past incarnations to base them off of. The Gargoyle, Whiplash, Prowler, Carcass, Dreadnight, Doomhunter, and of course the Marauder are all excellent additions to the roster, and they completely came from the brain of this current id Software team. These aren't John Romero's or Adrian Carmack's inventions, they have been made up for Doom Eternal, and they all add something unique to the game. As for the Tentacle and the Maker Drone, there's not much to say about them, so they'll be excluded from this list. Starting off with the Gargoyle, the new basic fodder enemy. This demon is basically a winged imp, and they are very mobile in the ground and air. While they aren't the most inventive monster in Doom Eternal, they give you another thing to worry about, and unlike some of the other fodder enemies, they can effectively kill you if you aren't careful. I also like their blade hands and their green projectile attacks. All in all, the Gargoyle is a simple yet nice addition to the roster. Along with the Gargoyle, the Prowler is another imp-like enemy that teleports around the arena. While he adds some variety on the battlefield and his movement patterns are interesting to fight against, the Prowler is not too inventive. They actually remind me of the Nightmare Imp from Doom 64, with their purple projectiles and darker design. The Carcass is one of my personal favourite Doom Eternal enemies, and it's because of their utility within battle. They are a unique piece on the chessboard, since they aren't very strong or aggressive within combats. Instead, they provide defense for the stronger demons by putting shields up, and that action forces you into a few options. You can either switch to the plasma rifle to get rid of the shield quickly, you can check your surroundings and see if there's a Cacodemon or Pain Elemental to grapple towards in order to get a better vantage point, or you can try and lob a grenade or two at the Carcass over its shield to take them out. The Carcass makes you switch how you play the game, and I love that about him. When he puts his shield up, he denies you of an area to attack, so you either have to disable his shield directly or switch positions. The Carcass is one of the most fascinating new additions, and they look badass as well. They actually remind me of Dr. Proton from Duke Nukem with their cyborg aesthetic. The Whiplash is another fantastic enemy that changes how you play Doom Eternal. As you all probably know, they slither around the ground and occasionally pop up to attack you with their at times devastating Whiplash move. The thing that's so engaging about the Whiplash is how they are elusive creatures that you want to prioritize, since they can be an issue if you aren't careful. Lock-on rockets usually do the job, but id Software have recently nullified that combo with the Ancient Gods DLC. They included Spectre Whiplashes in the expansion, and they can't be locked on with the rocket launcher, so you just need to slug it out with them and find a different approach. The Whiplash also gives the player ample reason to use the Ice Bomb, since you can buy yourself some time to take them out without any pushback. The Whiplash has a unique movement pattern with them slithering on the ground, and they have attacks that can rock your vision and disorientate you for a second. Similar to the Tentacle, the Whiplash's attack will shake up your screen, and you'll need to reassess the situation quickly. I love them, and they are an excellent add-on to the game's enemy list. Perhaps the most bland monster out of the new Doom Eternal enemies, the Dreadnight is basically another variant of the Hell Knights. Instead of being a bruiser, the Dreadnight is a bruiser, but with two energy swords, and the ability to deal quite a bit of splash damage out to the player. They're cool and everything, it's not like I hate the Dreadnight's inclusion in Doom Eternal, but compared to how inventive the Carcass and Whiplash are, and how they make you think about your next move so well, the Dreadnight is a little underwhelming. The Doomhunter, who I still accidentally call the Hellhunter for some reason. Maybe I have Doom 3 on the brain, who knows. Anyway, the Doomhunter is initially a boss enemy in the game, but they eventually roll them out more and more throughout the campaign. The Doomhunter looks like something that would be drawn in a 13-year-old school notebook. It's mean, it's edgy, and it's fucking awesome. The doomhunter has an arm cannon on one side and a chainsaw on the other, and he is situated on a sled that you can break down in combats. Out of every new monster design for Doom Eternal, I think I like the Doomhunter the best. I mean, he's just so over the top and cool looking. The Doomhunter has two stages to him, one where you need to disable his sled and then you eventually get to kill him. I appreciate how id Software have paid attention to how each demon moves around the space and how they want to make their patterns somewhat unique from each other. Cacodemons and pain elementals fly, the zombies and imps run around on two legs, and the Doomhunter floats in his hover tank. The Doomhunter is an interesting monster, since once its sled is removed, he's basically a non-threat, and you can proceed to making other demons the priority. This is akin to enemies like the Arachnotron and the Mancubus, and I absolutely love the weaknesses introduced with each demon in the game. However, with the Doomhunter specifically, you can also use the plasma rifle to temporarily disable his shield so you don't have to aim for his sled the whole time. Great stuff here with the Doomhunter. id Software should get a round of applause for the diverse array of monsters they have created, with each having unique attacks and strategies to beat them. I keep going back and forth in my mind about who the best new demon is in Doom Eternal, but I keep going back to the Marauder. Now, the Marauder has been talked about at length, and I wanted to provide my own commentary about how he's probably the most fascinating new enemy in the game. The Marauder is the black belt on the field and is there to challenge the Doomslayer, who is the other black belt present. When you first encounter the Marauder, he is posed as an actual boss fight, but as you progress through the game, he becomes yet another bad guy. He's not just another demon though, far from it. When you fight him, it feels very much like a dance, more so than the other enemies in the game at least. Now, there are elements of a combat dance with other demons, such as the Mancubus for example, with his huge ground blast that you need to avoid by faltering him using grenades or whatever, and then going in for the kill. But the Marauder takes the Doom dance to a whole new level. People have complained about the Marauder flying against what Doom Eternal is about, but I can't disagree more with those sentiments. I think most of those players anyway have since learned how to face the Marauder, and by now, if you're still enjoying Doom Eternal, you know how to effectively take him down. People have said in the past at least that he slows down combat, which isn't true. I find myself constantly moving around, trying to gauge when his eyes will turn green so I can go in for the counterattack. While I'm moving around the space, I'm also looking for fodder enemies to quickly kill, either for health, armor and ammo, or to ensure that they don't accidentally shoot at the Marauder's shield so that his dogs won't spawn in. I have to become more aware of the arena and my surroundings so that I don't fall off of a cliff or anything, and that I stay far enough away from him so that he doesn't blast me with his shotgun. I have to react quickly when his eyes light up, as well as quickly switch to another weapon like the ballista for extra damage, etc. There's a ton of thinking required when fighting the Marauder, and while that becomes more and more second nature as you play Doom Eternal for extended periods of time, situations can still get tricky with him. That's what I don't get about the previous complaints about the Marauder. He gets you to completely switch up your style of play, but so does every other demon in the game, and he makes you think more by comparison. The Marauder doesn't bog down the game at all, and the gunplay is still frantic as ever with him on screen. However, I am aware that most of the Marauder complaints were only initial gripes with him, and as players get better at the game, they learn to love the Marauder. That is awesome in a way, how you will not master killing each demon on your first playthrough, and how there's deep meta elements in Doom Eternal to learn long after you finish the campaign. I totally get if you didn't like the Marauder when you first played the game. In fact, I was probably annoyed at him too, but people that stuck with it and kept playing really learned to appreciate him and his intricate mechanics. So with that said, the Marauder is the best new demon in Doom Eternal. He shakes up the gameplay without sacrificing or changing what makes the game good to begin with. The fast-paced combat is still there when fighting the Marauder. The quick weapon switching and arena navigation is still there when fighting the Marauder. The fun zone is still intact when fighting the Marauder, and I wouldn't change anything about him really. Those were my thoughts and analysis of each new demon in Doom Eternal, and I thank you for watching.